Welcome to Pensioners Corner. Today, we're taking a closer look at important news that could affect millions of people across the United Kingdom who rely on the state pension. There has been a lot of discussion about potential adjustments to pension payments, and one figure that has been highlighted is a reduction of around £130 per month. For many pensioners, that number is not just a statistic. It represents real concerns about how everyday life might change if such a proposal were to move forward. What does this mean for the average retiree? How did we get to this point? And what can pensioners do to prepare, stay informed, and make their voices heard? That's exactly what we'll unpack in today's video. Retirement is supposed to be a time of security, after decades of hard work. For many, the state pension forms the backbone of their income. That's why any change, whether small or large, feels significant. Losing more than £100 each month may sound manageable to some, but for people on fixed incomes, even a modest adjustment can create difficult decisions. Do you reduce your food budget? Do you cut back on heating? Do you hold off on a prescription or a much-needed household repair? These are the realities many people fear. The state pension is a promise built over years of contributions. Retirees have paid into the system with the expectation that they would receive a stable income when their working years ended. That expectation is now being challenged by shifting government policies, ongoing debates over public finances, and the long-term pressures of the economy. Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs, or HMRC, has been central in recent discussions. While its primary role is taxation and benefit administration, policy changes connected to pensions are also part of the picture. The proposal being talked about doesn't just represent a technical change, it signals a recalibration in how government supports older citizens. That shift raises important questions. Is this fair? Is it sustainable? And what will the long-term impact be on people who rely most heavily on the state pension? To make this issue more relatable, let's consider the example of a retired nurse who worked over 40 years in the National Health Service. Someone like Margaret Thompson from Manchester. After decades of caring for others, her retirement income is supposed to reflect a lifetime of contribution. For her and millions like her, even a modest monthly cut would mean reshuffling priorities, rethinking how to stretch every pound, and worrying more about the future. Of course, these pension discussions don't exist in isolation. They are shaped by wider economic realities. The pandemic created extraordinary pressures on the economy. Inflation in recent years has increased the cost of essentials like food, housing, and energy. Government budgets are strained by competing demands from healthcare and education to public infrastructure. Policymakers are balancing short-term needs against long-term sustainability, and unfortunately, pensioners often feel the weight of those choices most heavily. Statistics suggest that over 9 million people in the UK could be directly affected if proposals of this scale were introduced. That's not just a number, it's millions of households with different stories, backgrounds, and daily struggles. For many, it's not about luxuries being lost, but about essentials becoming harder to afford. Experts remain divided. Some economists argue that adjustments to pensions may be necessary to protect the financial health of the system in the long run. Without changes, they warn, the system could struggle under the pressures of a growing retired population and fewer working-age contributors. Others strongly disagree, saying that pension cuts risk breaking the trust between government and citizens. They see this as a breach of the social contract, one that could leave older generations vulnerable after a lifetime of paying in. Dr. Elizabeth Harrington, an economist who has studied retirement policies, has warned that financial decisions framed as responsible fiscal management can still have deep humanitarian consequences. It's not just about balancing books. It's about the people whose daily lives will change. There's also the emotional side. Retirement should be a stage of life where people can enjoy peace of mind. But uncertainty breeds anxiety. When older citizens don't know if their income will remain steady, it can lead to stress, sleepless nights, and a deep sense of insecurity. Mental health professionals highlight that older adults already face risks of isolation and loneliness, and financial instability only adds to those challenges. On top of the human impact, pensions have become a political issue. With elections on the horizon, Politicians are aware that pensioners represent a large and engaged voting group. Opposition parties have criticized proposals for cuts, vowing to defend pensioners' interests. Advocacy groups are mobilizing as well, urging citizens to make their concerns known and to push back against what they see as unfair measures. Community organizations and local groups play an important role too. In many towns and cities, pensioners are joining together to support each other, share resources, and make their voices heard. Social media has become an unexpected tool, with retirees and their supporters using platforms to share stories, organize petitions, and shine a light on how proposed changes might affect real lives. Globally, other countries are dealing with similar pressures. Aging populations are a common challenge, and governments everywhere are working out how to fund retirement systems in sustainable ways. But the severity of the proposals in the UK has drawn attention. Some observers argue that Britain risks falling behind in protecting its older citizens compared to other developed nations. There are also legal questions. Some lawyers are exploring whether pension reductions could conflict with existing legal protections or contractual guarantees. If that's the case, the debate may not be limited to Parliament. It could end up in the courts, with judges asked to determine what obligations the government truly has to retirees. Amid all these policy discussions, the focus often comes back to the individual. How will someone like Margaret cope? Will support from family, local charities, or community networks be enough to bridge the gap? The answer is complicated, but it highlights the resilience that many pensioners show. Communities often step in where policies fall short, creating support networks that remind us of the strength in collective action. For many pensioners, this is more than just another financial story. It's a question of dignity. Retirement should be a stage of life that honors decades of contribution. A reduction in pensions is about more than money. It's about how a society values those who built it. Still, the future is not set in stone. Public debate matters. When citizens speak out, attend meetings, write to representatives, and share their concerns, policies can change. Collective action has shifted government decisions before, and it can do so again. That's why staying informed and engaged is crucial. This situation is a reminder of something bigger. The way a country treats its pensioners says a lot about its values. Are we a society that ensures older citizens can live with dignity and respect? Or are pensions seen as numbers on a budget sheet, adjusted without consideration of the real lives behind them? As the weeks and months unfold, there will be many developments, negotiations, debates, and perhaps changes to the proposals themselves. Pensioners and their allies will continue to watch closely, to advocate, and to remind leaders of their responsibilities. What can pensioners do right now? First, stay informed. Reliable news sources and organizations dedicated to pensioners' rights can help you understand the facts without unnecessary fear or confusion. Second, connect with others. Whether it's local community groups, online forums, or advocacy organizations, joining together makes every voice stronger. Third, don't hesitate to share your experiences. Real stories have power. Policymakers cannot ignore the human impact of their decisions when those voices are amplified. Here at Pensioners Corner, we'll continue following this story carefully. We are committed to providing clear, accurate, and respectful updates without sensationalism or exaggeration. Our goal is to keep you informed so you can make the best decisions for your future and feel confident in navigating these challenges. The proposed reduction of around £130 per month is a serious issue, but it is not the final word. Debates are ongoing, and pensioners are not powerless. By speaking up, by organizing, and by demanding fairness, citizens can influence the outcome. This moment is a test of our collective values. Will we stand for dignity in retirement? Will we ensure that those who built the prosperity of today can enjoy security tomorrow? The answers will depend not only on government decisions, but on how strongly pensioners and supporters make their voices heard. Every pensioner's story matters. Each life is a record of service, contribution, and resilience. Together, these stories form the foundation of the nation itself. That is why this conversation is so important. The coming months will be critical. Stay connected, stay informed, And know that you are not alone in this journey. Pensioners across the UK are part of a wider community, one that values fairness, respect, and security in retirement. And here at Pensioners Corner, we will continue to stand with you, share your stories, and bring clarity to the issues that matter most. Thank you for joining us today. If you found this discussion helpful, please consider subscribing to Pensioners Corner for more updates, insights, and community voices. Together, we can ensure that retirement remains a time of dignity, respect, and peace of mind for everyone who has given so much throughout their lives.